welcome to the Royal Jam Custom Shop. I'm Mike Stanley, and today we're dealing with part 2 of What I Ever Do to You. This is that classical guitar that I was cleaning up last time we met. I took a shower, I feel much better, and now that the fingerboard is all cleaned up, it's time we deal with this busted up bridge. See this? The bridge has come off of this guitar. Now, you can get these special clamps from StewMac or a luthier supply store. They cost about $40 and they hold this on very carefully, but I'm going to show you a little trick you can do with a couple of big old clamps to put this bridge back on. I'm going to have to work kind of quickly, so bear with me. This bridge peeled off of the guitar, and it took a little bit of the laminate off the top. This happens sometimes because what they do is they finish the guitar before they put the bridge on, and then when they glue these on, they're gluing them right onto the finish. You really shouldn't do that. They should tape that off when they put the finish on and then peel the tape off so that you're left with bare wood on the bridge. That makes a pretty good hold, but when they glue it onto the finish, onto the clear coat, the clear coat isn't anchored to the wood that well, and so that's what's happened. It's pulled right off. Now, fortunately, the wood that peeled off stayed stuck to the bottom of the bridge. So it makes a pretty nice fit, and it lines up pretty well. I mentioned before I wasn't going to make any promises, but we'll see what happens. Here we go. I'm using Titebond 2 today. Titebond 2 is water resistant, interior exterior wood glue. Stuff is actually stronger than wood. With a little bit of this stuff, I really should get a new bottle. I use this stuff a lot. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some on here. Better to use too much than too little. There we go. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread this around really evenly. I want to make sure I coat every little bit. You can use a paintbrush if you like, but it tends to gum up your paintbrushes. There we go. There's a little bit of the finish actually stuck to this thing. I was debating whether I should clean that off of there or not. I'm going to leave it on and see if that stays down. And I'm covering this whole thing with glue like that. This glue cures up pretty quickly, about 2 hours. But then once you've got the guitar into clamps for a bridge, because it takes a lot of tension, you really should let that cure for a few days. So I'm getting this thing going today. I'll put it away, and then I'm going to just wait until the remaining parts come. Now here we go. Stuff cleans up with a little bit of water. What I'm going to do is get a little water on this paper towel and get it off my fingers so I don't get glue all over the top of this guitar. Here we go. This has one of those ribbon pickups, so I'm going to put that through the hole now so that the hole doesn't get gluey. And that'll actually help me line this up. I'm going to put this right where it used to be. Bam. Like that. Put that in like that. There's going to be squeeze out. We're not going to worry about the squeeze out just yet. There we go. That bridge is right where it used to be. Let that sit there for a minute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to wet that a little bit. Not with glue. I'm going to wet it with a little bit of water. I'm going to get that. You don't want it soaking wet, but you want it wet enough. And we're going to get that squeeze out of there. Like that. You don't want any glue on the top of the guitar. We want to make sure it stays in to the line that it used to belong in. There we go. That's nice, like that. Now, you see that ribbon sticking up right there. We don't really want that sticking up because it might get in the way of the clamps. So I'm going to put that down into the groove like that. And I'm just going to take a little piece of electrical tape, or painter's tape, it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to use that to hold this down because we don't want it to interfere with like that. And I'm making sure that there's no glue on that because we've got to be able to get that off later. Now that ribbon is out of the way. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I have this precision level. It's a steel beam level. Steel beam perfectly straight. I'm going to set that on top like this. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to clean any squeeze out when I start applying pressure down, which I'm going to do in just a moment. Also, I have these two little, I wanted to show you this. I have these two little rubber washers. I don't know if you can see. You see that little rubber washer right there? There are two of them. And I'm going to put them on the ends of the bridge, like that. Oh, and I can see all that squeeze out happening now, boy. Look at that. You clean that up right away. Okay, that's getting sticky now. Yes, sirree, Bob. Now that we got those little rubber washers on there, just sitting on there, I'm going to take this steel beam level and I'm going to put it right across like that. And on top of that, I'm going to put a stick. And it's long enough to stick out over the ends. Now here's what I'm going to do, and this is where it gets a little tricky. I'm going to take these clamps, and I'm going to put one on each side. Now I'm not really clamping this down yet. I'm just letting that hang there, like that. Oh, I see squeeze out all over the place. Raising that up like that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not really going to put a lot of pressure on this. I'm just going to put enough so that it holds it in place. I'm going to keep this right drop dead center over the bridge. And I'm checking my alignment as I do this. Make sure we're not getting out of line. That looks pretty good. And I got clearance here in the middle. It's being held down really on the feet here by those rubber washers. Now that means it's not making a good contact in the middle. So here's my cute little trick. Check this out. I have these little wooden wedges. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these little wooden wedges in here to help push that bridge down. I'm mainly focusing on making the back nice and tight. There we go. And I'm going to tighten this down just a little bit more. These wedges aren't even touching the wood. And now I'm going to go back over this again and get rid of this little bit of squeeze out. This will squeeze out for about 10 minutes. And to make sure those wedges are in there pretty good, I'm going to tap them a little. Give them a little bit of a tap. I have another little one here. I'll put on this side. Like so. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit. Alright, so we're going to let this sit in clamps. And when it's done, after a day or so, I'll pull this off the clamps. I'll show you if I saved it or not. Lazarus, coming back from the dead. See you guys next time.